Sorry for starting late, but Plett, like most holiday towns, has a sort of timing of its own, and we just wanted to give a maximum opportunity for people to arrive. So I'd like to extend a Plett Tourism welcome to the 2024 AGM, to all municipal officials in attendance. I particularly recognize Wandisili Sebezo from the Economic Development Department of the municipality, and Councillor David Swart, who is of course our Ward 2 Councillor. Thank you both very much for being here. Our committed board members, thank you for being here, and tourism team, and lastly but not least, the Plett Tourism members in attendance, as without all of your support, Plett Tourism would not be what it is today. You know, we can get them here, but unless you guys keep them happy while they're here, they don't come back again. So each and every one of you plays an enormous role in the success of the whole tourism initiative. The board has successfully discharged its oversight mandate during the past 12 months as required by the Constitution, and I'd also like to thank all board members for their time and commitment in support of our hard-working CEO, Patty Butterworth, and the Plett Tourism team. Board members are all people who, without remuneration or refund of expenses, give of their valuable time to carry out the oversight function of Plett Tourism, and so they are due a debt of gratitude by us. Once again, looking back to the 2023 AGM, I find it difficult to believe the extent to which the face of Plett has continued to change in the last 12 months. An extensively expanded Woolworths, new shopping centre at the end of Longships, multitude of prestigious new residences going up, new hotels gaining momentum, new restaurants, new tourism offerings, and last by no means least, our new traffic circle. It's not really a circle for those who've seen it, but we refer to it as such, nearing completion, which will facilitate safe access and egress for those entering and leaving Plett on the N2 to the east. I think you'll all agree it's a master in engineering, this thing, as it sort of materializes and comes up, and one can appreciate even at this stage the high level of functionality that it's going to have over and above what was originally going to be a circle. All signs of a prospering town in a world in which by and large economies are shrinking. My daughter, son-in-law, and two of my grandchildren live in New Zealand, which has been one of the most prosperous for its size tourism destinations in the world. New Zealand's economy is collapsing, their tourism industry is collapsing, and this is a problem that is existing in many places in the world, whereas we are still very much on the up and up and continuing to accelerate. I've just come back from Europe, as many of you probably know. Europe's suffering from a different kind of problem, and that is over-tourism, where the places are just absolutely crowded out to the point of intolerance. In the last 12 months, I've visited many major centres in Italy, and they're now places you want to go see and never go back to again, because you need to see them, but they're not that much of pleasant exercise. Now, these things are all coming from adopting incorrect and unsustainable tourism practices. So tourism is an extremely sensitive industry, and we need to be conscious of how well our team and our country are actually managing the tourism dynamic. So although Plett is now an increasingly busy town with many more permanent residents and tourism offerings, it has been managed in such a way that we have retained that Plett feeling. I engaged with a lot of people in town, and a number of them said, I wish Plett would stop growing and developing, we just keep it like it is and this sort of thing. Well, I've had a home in Plett close for 30 years now, and I haven't lived here for that, lived here for most of 20 years, but during that time I can honestly say that I don't think Plett has gone downhill in terms of being a less pleasant place to be during any of that process. Yeah, traffic's a bit busier and that sort of thing, but it's still a wonderful town, and most importantly, you can walk out on our beaches for free, enjoy as much space and time as you like. I think the current rate in Portugal for getting on the beach is €100, which is about 2,000 rand. This is in no small measure due to the constant hard-working innovation and adoption of sound tourism policies adopted by our Plett Tourism team, who are presently bringing closure to another expanded and highly successful arts festival. Making a difference is what a tourism board is all about, and ever since Plett Tourism took over as our destination marketing organisation, the team have succeeded in bringing prosperity and consequent work opportunities to our town, and the 23-24 year has been no different. I believe that we all acknowledge that tourism is the core industry of the Bito area, and as a town we rise or fall on the back of our tourism industry. Some years back, prior to the formation of Plett Tourism, Plett was in the tourism doldrums. When you see it today, it's quite difficult to imagine, but I was involved on a tourism steering committee at the time, and I was also involved with the Restaurant Association, and Plett was busy over Christmas, and for most of the rest of the year, you hardly saw anybody. People didn't come here for school holidays, didn't come here for Easter, and so on. So I'm very conscious, having been involved in that level, just what a difference Plett Tourism has made, and I don't take credit for that. You know, chairman sounds like a fancy name, but what you actually do is chair board meetings and meetings. The hard work is done by Patty and her team, and we also acknowledge the privilege of having Peter Wallington as our inaugural chairman, who set up a lot of the tourism structures that we have in terms of marketing and so on, and formed the team that Patty now heads, and started a whole new dynamic in the tourism industry. In those early days, in that first 3-year contract we had, we were getting reports back of between 30 and 40% tourism growth in certain sectors per year, which I think is something that has possibly not been achieved anywhere else. So I'm sure you'll join me in giving our team a debt of gratitude and a hand. Once again, we've enjoyed a profusion of whales in our bay, together with some interesting close quarters with great white sharks sightings of late. On that note, I would just ask that in the interest of our tourism industry, if you do have those sightings and do take pictures, rather than sensationalize the whole thing, which can actually harm our tourism industry, rather send the pictures to the tourism team to manage. This is not because we're in denial. The fact that we have a very active shark spotting and warning and educational process shows that that is certainly not true. But like everything tourism, it needs to be managed to best advantage and not just chucked out there and without proper regard for the impact that it may have on our tourism industry. We've also faced some challenges with seals, and the same applies to the seals. So anything like that needs to be put out through proper channels, so the facts are correct, the warnings to people how to manage the situation is correct, and if we do things in that manner, we should be able to avoid incidents. We know we've got great white sharks. We've had them for many, many years. When I first came to Plett, there was a notorious one called the Robberg Express. I think it's more folk legend than anything else. I think it was probably different sharks being spotted, but as soon as a great white was spotted, that was the Robberg Express. So, probably speaking to an audience that is well versed in how sensitive the tourism industry is, just please encourage people always to be sensitive and route any information, any exciting developments, shark sightings, and I mean, you've probably all seen the video, it was a video of a great shark, but it needs to be routed and dealt with through the correct channels. Our relationship with our Plett Municipal tourism partners continues to grow, albeit with disruptions. I think Patty was telling me in how long, but we've had about 7 changes in administration. And you know, with each one comes different attitudes, lack of knowledge in the industry, lack of knowledge what we have been doing, different attitudes to what we're doing. So that has presented us with a lot of many challenges. We hope that this now settles down and we can consolidate and move forward. But the relationship remains good and solid and a mutually supportive one. So in closing, I'd like to very sincerely thank Plett Municipality for their support and commitment to funding over a 3-year period, which has been very important in plotting our way forward, and all our members and others who recognise the positive impact of the work being done and lend their weight and resources in support of Plett Tourism. We value each and every one of you, as you are, as I previously said, an essential component of our tourism industry. I've been involved in the tourism industry for many, many years in Zimbabwe and here, and am acutely aware of what a sensitive industry it is. You know, in Zimbabwe, I sat on the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, which was a tourism parastatal, and we would do a lot of amazing work and get people out, and our then president, Robert Mugabe, would spout a few words and all the tourists would duck for cover and not come back again. So very, very important. Right, I think, has everybody signed the attendance register? If you haven't, please make sure that you do. Patty, do we have apologies?
We do have apologies. They have been noted and they will be reflected in the minutes.
Okay, and a quorum is not a problem.
Yeah, we do have a quorum. 12% of our paid members constitutes the quorum, so we have met that.
Okay. The previous minutes have been circulated. Does anybody have any concerns, comments, corrections in relation to those minutes? I take them therefore as confirmed. Are there any matters contained in those minutes that you feel we need to raise today and deal with that is unlikely to be dealt with in the presentation that our CEO is going to do? Thank you. We have 3 new board members that have joined us since the last AGM for ecotourism. Sasha Yonk, Culture and Heritage, Chief Justin Barnardo, and community member Shbosh Tom, who runs a radio station in town, and we just thank them all. Patty will give you a bit of a rundown on who they are and what they are shortly, but they'll be on board for a 3-year period. The next AGM will be an elective AGM, in other words, we will elect a new board. So if you aspire to become a board member, start giving it some thought and engage with the community that you're represented by, accommodation or adventure tourism, whatever it may be, and garner the necessary support to enable you to do that. I'd now like to ask Patty Butterworth to present the Plett Tourism Annual Report.
I'll just ask them to dim the lights a bit so that you can see the presentation a bit better, and then once we finish with the presentation, we'll put the lights back on. And I just wanted to say, regarding any AGM minutes or AGM presentations, agendas, etc., attendee lists, you can find them all online on our website under our members section and under important documents. So if at any stage you want to reflect back to previous minutes, previous agendas, etc., feel free to go through and do that. So as Bruce also said, just an acknowledgement of thanks. The Plett Tourism Association, the board and our team acknowledge the municipality and the communities throughout B2 for their commitment to their land, our forests, our waterways, and our indigenous cultures. We thank you for your continued support to uphold the integrity of the Plett Tourism brand, which is Plett, it's a feeling. I just wanted to jump in and start with our membership statistics, our membership figures. So in the fiscal year prior to the 2023-2024 year, which we're reporting on, we had 635 members in total. That was made up of both paid and free membership, and you can see the breakdown. 38.7% accommodation, 26% activities, 22 restaurants, and 13.2% in tourism services. And we have grown that number to 689 members, both paid and free, and the most significant growth has been in tourism services and a little bit in restaurants. We've had a slight decline in accommodation establishments, and that is due to the smaller guest houses and B&Bs and self-catering establishments who have sold on to permanent residents. Activities have declined slightly, and that is due to closure of some of the activities, some of the smaller activities in particular. So our average length of stay for accommodation performance, these are statistics taken from booking.com. You can see at last year's report it was 2.06 was the average daily length of stay, which is just over 2 days. And according to booking.com, we have grown that to 2.68 average daily length of stays. And you'll see that it's broken up into sectors. So you have 37% of the stays in last year were one-night stays, 27% two-night stays, and 36% were 3 to 7 night stays. They've introduced a new category for us this year, which has kind of changed the percentage a little bit, because our one-night stays have grown to 50%. Our two-night stays have grown to 37.5%. Our 3 to 7 night stays have declined significantly, and they've introduced an 8% stay, 8 days or more stay, which is new for, and these are I must just also tell you, these are out of season stats. So although the 3 to 7 night stays for this past fiscal year has declined significantly, if you combine that with the 8 days or more, it actually is making a very nice difference, and combining that with our 2 night stays, we're looking quite positive. And that is, one of the goals of what we do is to try to grow our average night stay while in Plett. I think when I started in tourism in Plett, I think our average stay was 1.03 days, and the fact that we've been able to grow it is quite significant. And then we go into a little bit more of evaluation of the type of markets that are attracted to Plett. So last year, 45% of our bookings were for an international market. Not surprising for coming out of the pandemic, but exciting for us this year is that that has grown. That has grown from 45 to 60% of the international market. And I believe that has had an influence on the bed night stays as well, because we do have a bigger contingency of internationals coming through. And you'll see the breakdown of where the people are from on the international side are. So last year it was predominantly Germany, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom and Israel. And the trend is similar for this year. However, we've had Israel, obviously for various reasons, has dropped off as a primary international visitor source, and it has been replaced with the United States. And we believe that's been a significant reason why those bed nights have increased, is because the US market coming in their summer holidays, and they're not just passing through, they're actually staying for longer periods of time. So in regarding the breakdown of the domestic market, as we reported earlier, we've had a decrease in the domestic market for this fiscal year, but we've had an increase of the international market. So the demographics, or the types of visitors that are coming to our area, have changed quite significantly in the domestic market. Families and couples have kind of, they've decreased a little bit, but we've had a growth of smaller group travel, and smaller group travel is usually 12 or less individuals, and then solo travelers. So even your solo travelers is quite an interesting market. That are your what they call your nomads, or your people who are traveling and getting a little bit of a break but working away, or they might just be coming on their own and experiencing, whether it be a backpacker or five-star establishment, just getting some interesting experiences while they're here. So that's quite exciting for us to see that those trends are changing, and that in particular the small group travel, because that means there's a higher yield while they're here in Plett. So two of our primary local performance indicators, we've always used the Beacon Isle Resort as a really good measuring tool about average occupancy. And we know that when the Beacon Isle used to be closed for renovations, it was quite tragic for tourism in Plett. And fortunately, through conversations about, I think it was about 10 years ago, instead of closing the hotel in its entirety over 6 weeks, they opted to just close particular sections of the hotel to be able to renovate. So that has actually been in our favor as an industry, and they have grown from 96% occupancy, which was really good coming out of the pandemic. And this past year they were at 98%, so they are really doing well, and obviously for season they're at 100% capacity, so we're quite excited to see the Beacon Isle reaching its pre-COVID occupancy rates, which is a good signal for all of us. And then the second one that is quite significant are the numbers shared by Cape Nature, and in particularly for Rauburg Nature Reserve. So as you can see, we had just almost 82,000 people visiting Rauburg Nature Reserve in the previous fiscal year, and this year it's up to 85. So with that comes challenges being parking, challenges being wear and tear on Rauburg and issues, but it is a sign that not only are there more people in Plett, but also that people are appreciating what Plett has to offer when it comes to outdoor nature experiences. So for those of you who are new to the Plett Tourism Association, this is just a brief overview of who we are. We're a voluntary association that was established in 2013. Our primary purpose is destination marketing and management. And with our new SLA with the B2 municipality, we are also taking into consideration some opportunities to assist them with destination development when it comes to the tourism space. Our main goal is to maximize the tourism's economy and the contribution the tourism economy makes to the town. And we really pride ourselves on being a united group of tourism businesses. We try to be innovative. We are very committed to what we do, and we try to maximize and get the best return on investment on the projects that we take on board. We've got quite a dynamic team of individuals, which I'll go through our organogram and just kind of point everyone out to you. And really, our functions and deliverables, I believe, really speak for themselves. I believe that the Plett Tourism Association is a very popular association to be involved with along the Garden Route and the Western Cape. We're often followed, we're often copied, and we used to get quite upset about it, but now we take it as it is what it is, and if it's going to work for the Garden Route, then so be it. Follow our path if possible and where. We're very focused on increasing traveller knowledge, not only in Plettenberg Bay, but in the greater B2 area and along the Garden Route, and obviously in the Western Cape and in South Africa. One of our main focuses is to increase potential for the desire to travel. So we want the world and people to know that it's important to travel. The Garden Route has so much to offer, and particularly our area is a great destination, and just increase that desire to come here and just check it out. We do a lot of research and trend analysis, and we try to include that in almost everything that we do. Sometimes we try things that don't work, and then the things that do work, we like to share those trends, and we like to share how they worked and why they worked. We think it's very important that other tourism offices and other tourism businesses can follow a similar path. And then we're very important to us is our stakeholder communication. So our involvement with you as members, our involvement with our key stakeholders, our local, regional and provincial government sectors, our private stakeholder engagements with SATSA, with FedHaza. So we're really big on stakeholder communications, and we try to develop those relationships, because I think the more you can develop those stakeholder relationships and keep them in a good space, the better off it is for everyone. So our organogram, our organizational chart, has been very consistent throughout the first year that we've had our SLA. We are going to be changing it this year. Going forward, we're introducing some new opportunities on the team. But for reporting purposes for the AGM, we have Bruce, who is our chairman, myself, who is the CEO and the marketing manager. We have Cindy, who is our general manager, and particularly with events and festivals and in the office. We have 3 administrative support front of house team that includes Andisiwe Nankosana, and she is involved in operation support. We have Emily Potkito, who many of you may know. She is our receptionist, our main receptionist, and she's also an information officer and assists with concierge services. And Braylee Boyson, she is an information officer and an assistant, and she also provides a great deal of event support for the things that we do in the event space. Public Relations Officer, PR and Marketing, as we reported last year, was vacant, and as I said, there are going to be some changes going forward where that position will be filled. And Janet Middleton is our Communication Manager. She handles the digital media platforms and the internal and external communication structures that go out. Travel and Trade Assistant, who many of you have seen either in writing or have met with, is Portia. Sorry, Portia, I've got your maiden name on there. Portia since married, and she's actually Portia Zaman now. We have our treasurer and bookkeeper, Liz, who keeps us on our toes with the finances, which just reminds me that we have sent out invoices for this fiscal year. If you haven't paid, or if you haven't for some reason received your invoice, please let us know after this meeting, because it's very important that we do invoice our members and that we have the right email addresses so that it's getting to the right people. Tandi Mabukani, she is our membership manager, and she also runs our CRM system. So she handles our Zoho platform, which is our membership iCloud space that includes all of the information about you members. And so anytime you need to update information, you want to send it through to Tandi. And then we have Brendan Morris, who is our website and IT systems manager. So he handles the website, he's involved with the CRM program as well, handles all the online systems, the newsletters, the emailers, the product updates online, the gig guides, all of anything to do with IT systems, that's handled by Brendan. Just quickly, the team, Emily, as I said before, she is front of house manager and concierge. Braylee, tourism officer and events assistant. And Desiwe is an administrative assistant, and she's involved in operations support. And Portia, once again, apologies, I forgot to change her surname there. Tourism and trade travel assistant. We have Tandi, our membership manager, Janet, communications manager, Brendan, our web and IT systems manager. And then, as many of you may know, Cindy, our general manager at events, and myself as the CEO. Also present today, who you might not have met, is Liz Phillips, our treasurer and bookkeeper. She is here. She's here for the duration if you need to meet with her after the meeting. Bruce Richardson, as you met earlier. And we have several of our board members present. I will point them out a little bit later in case you are from that particular sector and you might want to address one of those board members. Please feel free to do so. They should be here for the duration as well. So just a few of our operational highlights for the year. I'm not sure why these photos aren't coming through very well, but it could be the internet connection. So our primary focus for this past year was on the domestic traveler, was primary, and international travel was secondary. And it's quite interesting because, as we saw reflected in the earlier statistics, we focused on domestic travel, and a byproduct of that was an increase in international travel, which I think is quite exciting. Our online community has grown by 10% this year. We'll go into more facts and figures in some of the following slides about how much. The Plett Ocean Festival community, which is one of the new premier events that we've introduced, has grown by 16%. The Plett Arts Festival community has grown by 150%, which is very exciting for us because we've been doing the Plett Arts Festival for 11 years now, and we're starting to see this steady growth and steady appreciation for that festival. We're sitting at just over 1 million views on our YouTube videos. Our Facebook Watch series has had 5.5 million views. We have done 5 what we call fam trips, which are familiarization trips, or educationals, which are generally done with journalists or with tourism industry, for example, the tour operators or travel trade professionals. We have organized 16 site inspections with tour operators, and we have continued with our monthly newsletter, which has a subscription base, our quarterly niche newsletters, which are aligned with our 4 marketing pillars, and quarterly subscription to our tour operator newsletter, which is obviously not quarterly, and we also do a lot of automated product updates through our website. So some of the website highlights include that we have had just over 136,000 visitors to our website this past year, with 334,354 page views. And if you consider, this is a local tourism website, and that we are a town that is not huge, those are really good statistics. We have done 88 event marketing listings. Those are the individual listings that we do where if it's a larger event and it's open to the public and they apply for their marketing, they put in their marketing application and they need to go through the process for any type of engagement with the municipality and events. Those are those types of events. And we also have what we call gigs. We have a gig guide, and we registered 298 gig events on our website this past year. We have featured 181 news articles on the website. And important about the news articles is that with the closure of the previous Sea Express and local news outlets, we have become a little bit more focused on the type of news that we share, and we get a lot of submissions from members and from businesses outside of membership base, for example, maybe a non-for-profit, the municipality, and a few others, and we share their good news stories or pertinent, I guess you would call them public awareness stories on our news feed, and it gets picked up. It gets picked up by regional publications, by national publications, and even by international publications. So we've kind of become a little bit of a news hub. We are involved with page updates daily on our website. We keep Brendan very much on his toes with those updates, and you as members keep him on his toes with those updates. We also have a special deals page, which is, you might have received notice to please send through your special deals. There's a link. It's all done through the website. It's very easy to do. If you're not familiar with it and you would like more information on it, please let either Brendan, myself, or Portia know after the meeting, and we can kind of guide you through how to update your specials. We do daily SEO management on our website and also across our digital media channels. We do sell website advertising. So we sell that on our banner ads that are on the homepage. We also do that on our listing pages. And exciting for us, we are going to be launching our new website look and feel early to mid next year, and we'll have more opportunity for advertising. We're not wanting to do in-your-face advertising. It's quite subtle. We believe that the tourism industry should be highlighted on the website versus advertising, but we do have opportunities. And also included in that are our newsletter advertising opportunities, which we can go through those with you. We are very involved with several, I suppose we like to call them our media partners. They're not official media partners, but we appreciate everything that they do with us and how they share our news. And those in particular are Longevity Magazine, Affluence Magazine, the Plett Summer Dreams magazine, which many of you have had in your rooms, the Times Plett and Nizer, the Nizer Plett Herald, the Inside Guide, which is a luxury, high-end coffee table book, and we do a lot of engagement with them. Cape Etc., Herald Live, the World Cetacean Alliance, the Daily Maverick, the Weekend Post, and the Cape Argus. So we've developed these relationships over the years, and they in general are very happy to share our good news stories in Plett. So in total, we have 4 types of newsletters that go out. We have our monthly newsletter, which is sent out to a subscriber base of 8,696 individuals, and those include people who aspire to come to Plett, who have been to Plett, or who have family who live in Plett. So the majority of which are not Plett locals. They are people who've moved out of Plett, or there are people aspiring to come to Plett. We send out business newsletters and business mailers to a database of 2,340 businesses, and those are subscriber base, and they tend to be, the majority are tour operators, travel professionals, agencies, DMCs, and DMOs. And that's a pretty good subscriber base, and it grows every year. And so we're quite excited about that, because obviously they would unsubscribe if they didn't enjoy receiving the information about Plett. And then we previously had 4 WhatsApp groups. At the last AGM, we've now introduced 2 new groups. So we have 6 industry WhatsApp groups. So that includes township tourism, events, local events, accommodation, restaurants, activities, and tourism services. We don't spam on those WhatsApp groups. We're very careful of, recognizing everyone's privacy, and it's not a sales call. It's really industry-specific information, or it's a friendly reminder to maybe update and have a look and update your web page. Don't forget to enter in your special deals. So it's really pertinent information. So like I said, it's not an advertising platform. We don't spam on that. And we have a total subscriber base of 263 local businesses for that. And then we have another WhatsApp group, which is more for the tourists or visitors and locals who want to receive information. And that information may be about upcoming events. You might want to check out the events calendar. There might be news on, the summer essentials, the important numbers to remember or to have on file should you need them. And that is a subscriber base of 827, which is pretty significant. So some of our media highlights for last year, we engaged with media stakeholders. So that would be either editors, journalists, people on the ground. So we engaged with 13 media stakeholders. We put together 8 itineraries specifically for journalists who came through Plett. It's something that we are very focused on, is that if a journalist from a publication wants to come and experience Plett, we have an application process. It's available online. They can apply to come. We look at their credentials, we look at the value of the exposure that they're going to give us, and the value of the exposure they're going to give to our members who want to participate. So we did 8 of those. We were featured in 36 news articles and blogs that were specifically about Plett. We sent out 39 media releases. We contributed with quotes. We are often asked to, can you please quote on the whale season? Can you please quote on rage? Can you please quote on summer school holidays? So, and we do oblige with those quotes. We think it's very important to keep those relationships good, and to just continue to grow those media relationships. We placed 12 printed adverts. We conducted 7 radio interviews. We did 6 Google AdWords campaigns. which we paid for. And generally those Google AdWords campaigns, they drive traffic to our special deals page, or they drive traffic to the Plett Ocean Festival website or the Plett Arts Festival website. So they're very targeted, and they have a specific call to action attached to them. We ran 3 Facebook and Instagram advertising campaigns. We printed the tear-off maps. We printed 10,000 of those this past December. And we had 2 signs that went up. We had one that we do quite regularly at Kangar Caves. And then we did a joint marketing initiative with the Plett Bowling Club with a very large welcome sign, which is affixed to the side of the building as you go into their parking area. And that sign was actually sponsored by the Plett Bowling Club and I believe possibly the Ratepayers Association. So we didn't actually contribute financially. We contributed with the design and with the image. We had 138 national media mentions. That is in regards to Plettenberg Bay itself. And then we had 15 articles that featured mentions of Plettenberg Bay. So some of our highlights were, we were in National Geographic's Traveller South Africa publication. And this was not solicited by us. We did not pay to be in there, but we received a quite significant amount of exposure. And these 2 in the middle are 2 of the ads that we ran. So the one on the left is very focused on the trail network in Plett, and that was in Getaway, and that was subsidized by the 3 businesses that participated with the ad. And a spin-off of that was we had a 4-page spread in Getaway. So we really tried to maximize our exposure and maximize our relationship and leverage those so that we can just get more exposure with what we're doing. So some of this is an example of some of the media relationships that we've built over time. We were featured, Rauburg Nature Reserve was featured on IOL as a product awareness kind of campaign with them, as a screensaver. We were in Getaway, not only in print, but also featured several times this past year online. Is it me? Am I in trouble? No problem.
Starting at the top.
Yeah. What did I do? In the Daily Maverick, we have a very good working relationship with the Daily Maverick. So often they feature our Ocean Festival and a precursor to the Ocean Festival, and then post-Ocean Festival, they like to share any good news, wildlife, coastline awareness articles for us. And then also with National Geographic Traveller online, the Ultimate Garden Route Itinerary, we were featured in quite significantly. So when it comes, I don't know why these images are very out of focus, but I'm just going to walk through them with you. So Instagram, we grew from 48.7 thousand. Janet, are those likes?
It's reach, Pat.
Reach to 253.5 thousand in reach in a year. So we've grown that extremely. That is, I don't even know what percentage that is. My maths isn't great. So I would say that's about a 200% increase? 250, okay, thank you. And then Facebook, we went from a reach of 110,000.5 to 1.1 million, which is really, really fantastic. So we are growing. And the important thing to remember is the majority of this is grown organically. We don't pay for our likes, we don't pay for followers, so it's done organically. And just some examples of the type of digital media and content highlights. We are very focused on adventure and nature and marine ecotourism. sorry, I actually can't read these. Sorry, that's my bad. I think I've made them too big.
Refresh.
I don't know. They were fine on my presentation screen. Oh yeah, it is looking, sorry, it's looking much better, thank you. That's why you need an IT.
IT guy.
There we go, look, everything looks so much nicer. And I have my glasses on,
It's pretty.
which helps a lot too. Okay, so thank goodness, I thought it was me. Okay. Like, I'm not that old. Glasses. Okay, so the first one is a whale tail. We know through our exposure and for what we put online that the best feedback we get tends to be anything that is adventure and nature focused. It always has been like that in Plett. It's very difficult to change that landscape in Plett. But it really creates awareness, and it helps our town with the brand of who we are and expressing that feeling of being in a destination where you can appreciate and understand nature a little bit better. So the whale tail had a very nice response. When we feature the trails with MTO trails, also you know, with our trails app and everything, that's a very popular. Those are very popular posts. Flamingos, amazing. Flamingos and penguins, people just love, and they always do very well. So if you just want a hint to help sell your Facebook page and Instagram pages, post anything with a Plett flamingo or a penguin, and people just love that stuff. And then obviously, you know, the Plett community, bird watching is one of the fastest growing. AV tourism is one of the fastest growing niche markets globally in the tourism space. Also something to hook onto. Maybe that's why the penguins and flamingos do so well. We focus on people and stories. The stories about the people who live in Plett, and that's something that we have always been very focused on. So whether you are a youngster up and coming in surfing, we are focused on NGOs like the Africa Hoofprint Foundation, which is the Griqua horse herd that is housed at Cambrogi, always gets very popular feedback. Chisa Talent, people who are aspiring to be artists, musicians, DJs. Often we get nice feedback from that. And other NGOs like Adopt a Surfer, Shock Spotters. You know, those are parts of our community that, you know, we don't necessarily fall in line as a Plett Tourism specific project or product, but they are a crucial and an integral part of what we do in the tourism space. And they are always, you know, there's a lot of feedback on that. So those are some really good pointers if you have a look at the presentation, which will be online, and maybe just kind of pick up some of the types of stories that we tell. And these are some of our most popular posts that we've shared. Lifestyle, arts and culture, which is actually, you know, one of our marketing pillars is arts and culture. We focus on anything from, you know, bringing in the wine farms, the Honeybush tea, the Plett Arts Festival, the Ocean Festival. Wine is very popular. And then just a general overview of maybe some of the history of Plett. People love to know more about, you know, where does Plett's history lie? Where does it, you know, what are the historical monuments? What are the historical attractions? What are the historical people of Plett? Very popular. And then obviously we focus on travel and tourism. What are we doing in the travel and tourism space? You know, we go to WTM Africa. We are involved with the media, and often we share our stories and we share our thoughts and our views on growing the tourism industry along the garden route. You know, we're very fortunate. We have some amazing businesses in Plett that are often featured in Condé Nast Traveler and National Geographic Traveler, either, you know, internationally or nationally, and those are usually a very good opportunity to share that information as well. And we encourage all of our members to share other members' accolades, because I think it only encourages the type of place where we live. You know, we like to share good news stories, and just because it's not our story doesn't mean it shouldn't be shared, because it just spreads that word out there in the marketplace. So some of the things that we worked on this past year for increasing traveler knowledge, we did attend WTM Africa, the travel show that was in Cape Town, that was held in April. We took 2 SMME businesses with us. We identified that the Plett Trail space is very popular, it's growing in the industry, and a lot of your tour operators and travel professionals want more information about nature and the trails around us. So we identified 2 up-and-coming trail guides. One of them is a indigenous cultural guide, and they came with us to WTM. They participated in meetings with us, and we paired them with an existing trail company called Backtrack Adventures, and they mentored them at the show as well as us in the trail space. That was a really good opportunity to bring on an SMME, to give them exposure to something as large as WTM Africa. We also had, we worked quite closely with Westgrow and SATSA. Westgrow is the marketing arm of the Western Cape province, and they're very involved in the tourism space as well as the investment space, but we work very closely with them in the tourism space, as well as SATSA, which is the Private Tourism Association, who is appointed with Westgrow to assist in marketing the garden route and the Western Cape. And we worked on a luxury trade, what they call a mega familiarization trip with them, where they brought in, I think it was 10 tour operators in the luxury space. We also did a educational with the Garden Route Film Commission. So they brought in producers, directors, and I think it was 2 journalists in the space of the film industry, because as you know, the film industry is growing in South Africa and particularly in the Western Cape, and they're trying to push more of the filming industry to come up the garden route, because they are a bit oversubscribed in the Cape Town area, and they want to be able to push them and share that exposure up the garden route. We do a quarterly travel trade newsletter. We have our Plett Trails app, which we launched last year. It's been extremely successful. It continues to grow with downloads and with people using the app. We did 16 tour operator educationals with individual tour operators, and we continue to sit on the joint marketing initiative, the steering committee with Garden Route Klein Karoo, which is the provincial tourism body with Westgrow and FedHasa. And we are now recognized as a Plett Cetacean Whale Heritage Site. So we work quite closely with them to share knowledge about our cetaceans, which are your whales and your dolphin, and work quite closely with them as well. So our main focus is, we have our tagline, Chase the Feeling, which is part of the Plett It's a Feeling campaign. We have a niche market focus with our 4 marketing pillars: Plett Summer, Plett Wine and Food, Plett Adventure and Nature, and Plett Culture and Heritage. Each has an anchor 3 months out of the year, and we try to focus our members and our messaging within those pillars. The Plett Trails app and the Plett Trails network stakeholder engagement is continuous. That goes from local regional, provincial, and national level. As I mentioned before, the Cetacean Whale Heritage Site. Also focusing on Blue Flag Beach. The Blue Flag Beach program is very important to us, very important to our municipality, and the recent Green Flag Trails program, which was part of a launch that happened with our app. We are the first in the world to have Green Flag MTB trails, and I believe at the end of this fiscal year that we're reporting on, we had the most Green Flag trails in the Western Cape next to Cape Town. This is just kind of an overview of our operational highlights, what we do. We conduct research and analyze trends through quarterly member surveys. We do walk-in stats at the office, and we participate with any regional, national, and provincial research and analysis requests. We engage directly with the Garden Reef District Municipality, Westgrow, SATSA, SA Tourism, the Plett Business Chamber, which I was hoping would be here today. The Plett Business Chamber has been dormant for 2 years, and they are now establishing it as the Plett Economic Forum. I don't know if they've approached any of you, but we are working with them on their request for information. The Plett Ratepayers Association, and obviously the B2 municipality. This is kind of an outline of who we target, how we target, the markets that we play in. We continue to target high-value leisure and event customers, and those include the leisure and adventure tourism travel trade. Because when you start focusing on luxury, high-value leisure tourists, everything below benefits. So we target high, and everybody benefits. The markets are a little bit different. We invest our resources and time in quite a balanced portfolio of the different markets. We have an Afrocentric market, which is our primary focus for the domestic market. We do a lot of niche markets, outdoor enthusiasts, marine life enthusiasts, wedding travel, small group and family travel. We have 2 anchor events that we host ourselves for people to experience and appreciate the Plett lifestyle, and also for brand Plettenberg Bay to be out there. That we are conscientious, we acknowledge one of our greatest assets, which is our coastlines and waterways and our marine life, that's the Plett Ocean Festival, and that we acknowledge and encourage our local artists, artists being anything from poetry, fine art, dance, music, etc. And we anchor that with the Plett Arts Festival. The distribution of material is to high value leisure customers, because we want to drive conversion from their intent to travel to actually travel here. And we engage with partners. So we're very focused on selecting partners, whether it be through a media partnership, whether it be through a product partnership, that extends our ability to grow our market share, and that we can maximize our return on investment for the industry. And our enablers are very important to us. They are committed, high-performing individuals that support delivery to Plett Tourism. So we have quite a few enablers in the industry, and it has helped us grow to where we are. So going into some of the office and marketing projects that we do to help generate income, or that help us streamline our efforts, we use the Activitar platform. It's important to us. It's part of our concierge service, and it's something that we are hoping to position ourselves going forward with our new website is to encourage more direct bookings with our activities, because we do get a commission on those activitar bookings, and it's important for us. It's a nice revenue stream. The CRM system that I spoke about earlier, Zoho, is a customer relations management tool. I'm sure several of you have something similar, and it basically puts everything in the cloud, and so you don't have to use spreadsheets all the time, and then at any given time you can extract information about members. You can extract, how many are star graded, how many are 8 rooms or less. So it's a really crucial part of what we do. And we're hoping we've just amalgamated our bulk emailing system into Zoho, which has been a cost saving for us. And we're hoping to one day incorporate our accounting package integration onto Zoho, so that everything is kind of in one iCloud, it's under one roof, and it's a little bit more streamlined. So as I mentioned before, we're currently under the development of a new look and feel for our website. As many of you know, your website starts to become redundant, or as it grows, it needs to be upgraded, because if you don't, you will be sorry in about 10 years' time. So we're actually going through that process for this year. And one of the exciting features on that is that we are introducing a 360-degree visuals on our website, and we've partnered with a company to be able to allocate those platforms, and we're quite excited about it. It's going to have a new look and a new feel, and it's going to have a better functionality, and I believe that the website will be faster once we can use the new platform. We did start with a new event management platform, which has enabled us to have 2 new websites, Plett Ocean Festival website, Plett Arts Festival website. And these event management platforms have assisted us with brand sponsorships and marketing of our events, and also for us to gather statistics and information about who's coming to our events. We continue with our Akasi Life Stories, and that is focusing on people and businesses that make up our township life in B2, and we showcase that. We also have a mentorship program for young and upcoming journalists from within the community, and so we do have an Akasi Life video. We have 2 videos now. We're in the process of editing the videos because we've had several businesses that have closed, and we are hoping to do a media educational. We're working towards a media educational with local and regional media representatives to experience the Akasi Life tours. And last but not least, we have our Plett Trails app, which phase 1 has been completed. It was the launch of the app. Phase 2 we are in. We continue with it. It's the updating of the app. It's the we're going to be introducing event trails. Trail events onto the app, which can give us more advertising and promotional opportunities as well. And so you can see that the downloads have grown, website visitation has grown. So the articles, we had 3,537 articles last year, somehow featured the Plett Trails. This year it was 4,815. Visitors to the website, we went from 5,500 to 7,100. Page views have grown from just over 8,000 to almost 11,000, and the app continues to be downloaded. It's a free app. We don't extensively market the app. It's not on Google Apps or anything like that. We hope to be on one of those app stores one day. So for it to grow organically like this, it's quite a good sign that it's a tool that's needed, it's a tool that's wanted. People are downloading it and they're using it. So we host our own events at Plett Tourism. We have what we call Plett Conversations, which take several shapes and forms. It could be in the form of a meet and greet, it can be in the form of a workshop, it can be in form of a presentation. I believe our next one is scheduled for October, so you might be getting emails about that Plett Conversations. The most recent one we had a marketing theme, which members could attend, which gave them tools for digital marketing. We host travel trade workshops. We attend travel trade workshops, which are very much focused on niche markets. We were represented at WTM Africa, at IGTM WTM in Portugal. That was done through our joint marketing initiative with the Garden Route. So we had representation at IGTM WTM Portugal, at the Contebeurs Expo in Amsterdam, at the Outdoor Expo in South Africa, and at Locations Africa, which was is a film group with the familiarization trip that we did. So we have 2 anchor festivals, as I mentioned before. They're recognized by the province as 2 what they call jewel events, of which there are only 6 recognized in the Western Cape. And they call them jewel events because they are focused on specific criteria. They meet a high standard. They encourage out of season, draw people from out of season, and they're measurable by the excellent marketing and the annual growth. So we're very excited to be 2 of those jewel events. So the first, we're in the throes of at the moment, is the Plett Arts Festival. We have had significant growth. So the previous year we spent 180,000, and we have to remember that the 180,000 is through sponsorships and ticket sales and a contribution from Plett Tourism. So it's a combination of our spend, and we had a return on investment, a measurable media return on investment of almost 380%. So our measurable return on investment, and this was through the research that we do, that 180,000 translated to 686,000 rands worth of media exposure for Plettenberg Bay. And exciting for us, last year's Arts Festival, we spent 199,000, which was a combination of sponsorship and ticket sales. And we had a return on investment of 1.3 million plus. So that's a 667% return on investment. And we think that is very exciting, that we see growth, we see return on investment. And these aren't numbers that we just kind of thumbsuck. We actually do the research and investigation, the radio coverage, the television coverage, the newspaper coverage, any ads that were placed, or any article that was featured. There's a rand value to that, and that's how we measure this. And the second anchor festival for us is the Plett Ocean Festival. The first, the 2022 to 2023 year we spent 260, and we had a return of investment of 1.154 million, which was a 430% return on investment. And this past year we spent actually less, and we had a little bit less return on investment, but if you look at percentage-wise, it was a 450% return on investment. And those 2 events are finally getting traction within the marketplace, and exciting for us this year is we've been approached by Woolworths and a few other bigger brands to please start engaging with sponsorships for next year. So we're quite excited about that. When it comes to events, we work very closely with the B2 municipality. There is a continuous lobbying for an events policy to be formalized. We're waiting for feedback on that, but we continue to lobby for it with the municipality. We participate with the events. There's an events committee that meets, and those include your stakeholders like SAPS, municipality, Plett Tourism, and any other stakeholders who might have to be involved in a particular public event. And we try our best to continue to encourage ease of permitting, that there's a clear application process, there's consistent application of regulations, that we preserve our natural resources as much as possible when there are events. We encourage the greening of events. Safety of events and visitors are very close to our heart. We would like to make sure that those are all in order. And we also try to encourage the development of a film policy, which we lobby for as well. Our function within the event space includes to organize and produce and market anchor events or festivals, and to present post-event surveys. We currently have a seat on the Municipal Event Committee for event approvals. We host a marketing platform for all events on application through our website. So any event, large or small, we take applications. If the event warrants to be on the gig guide only, we encourage that. If it's a larger event that needs interaction on that committee, it gets sent through to our Economic Development Department, and we work together to get them on the official calendar of events. We host the B2 calendar of events. It gets distributed monthly to all of our media partners or media stakeholders. I think there's maybe just over 200. So that goes to magazines, newspapers, online publications, and for their consideration to include our events, any events in Plett, on the calendar of events. And then we facilitate and manage the corporate beach activations during season, which is it's an important role for us, because we like to ensure that any brands that come to Plett that want to be at Central Beach adhere to strict criteria, and that we're not stepping on the toes of local businesses or anything like that. So this is a graph of how events have grown or decreased over the years, and obviously you can see during the pandemic, 2020 events decreased significantly, and you can see from 2021 we are steadily growing in events, in the event space. And 2024, we have to remember that this is just July to present. So we are estimating that the 2024 figures will be, we will have over maybe 160 events by the end of this fiscal year that we're in now. So eventing is big business in Plett. And we try to keep tabs on all events. Some do fly under the radar, but we try our best to keep tabs on everyone. So our business plan going forward is really to their key objectives. So to raise the profile of the local tourism and its issues and opportunities to the relevant forums that we need to be in, provide communication to our members on matters that are of great importance, whether it be local or regionally tourism related. We like to share that information. We encourage our members to participate with opportunities. There's some amazing programs out there that a lot of people don't apply for. And you can apply for greening initiatives. You can apply for grant and aid. You can apply for mentorship programs for similar businesses in your area. And we really encourage people to read those emails and see if it doesn't fit in with your business plans going forward. We process inquiries for the local and regional tourism offices. We provide input into development of policies, plans, and programs that are going to impact us locally, regionally, or nationally. At the end of the day, we want to increase visitation, increase the types of visitors in domestic and international spaces, and we want to grow the average spend across all of our markets. So that goes from, a restaurant in a township to ocean viewing or whale watching. So we want to try to increase the revenue across all markets. So as Bruce mentioned before, we've gone into a 3-year strategy. Year 1 is complete. We're now going into year 2. We have done the bulk of the investigation. So we've done the industry research with the regional, provincial, national, and international stakeholders. The type of engagement and research with our members on trends, obstacles, matters arising, and that's just through regular, conversations, through Plett conversations, through emails, etc. We started with phase 1 of our engagement and research with our township communities on development and programs in the tourism space. We conducted a Plett Township Tourism Survey, which was completed in February of this year. And phase 2 is to commence in October this year under instruction and participation with our local economic development office, because we, as the Plett Tourism Association, cannot go on to phase 2, which is the public participation process, without the guidance and assistance from our local LED department. So we have had consultation with outcomes engagement to integrate the strategy within the B2 municipal LED and communication departments. We engage with them regularly. When it comes to the outcomes engagement with township communities on development and programs, we have not had the opportunity to present our survey findings yet. And that is going to be part of the process, the public participation process with the B2 municipality in October. We don't have confirmed dates yet, but I have been told it is going to take place early to mid-October. So we used our existing business plan for year 1. We've started the year 2 with our new strategy. However, the business development part of that strategy has not been completely implemented because we're waiting on guidance from our local municipality LED department to be able to finish that part of destination development. So just a reminder, something that I found which I thought was quite interesting is according to the Allied Market Research, global adventure tourism market in 2022, and you have to remember this is like as we came out of the pandemic, was valued at almost $400 billion, and that is forecasted to increase to $4.6 trillion by 2032. That is the adventure tourism market. We are so lucky that we are primely positioned to be able to play in that market. And the United Nations World Tourism Organization's global report on adventure tourism says that that market attracts the highest value tourism consumer with high spending power, which directly has a spillover effect on all supporting local economies. I just think it's really important that we take this information into consideration because we are an adventure tourism destination. And we're so lucky to be able to play in that space, and it's definitely in our favor. It's essential for all of us to acknowledge that the tourist decision-making and preferences are evolving. So what we thought tourists wanted 10 years ago is not what they want today. And we have to take that into consideration when we research and we follow up with travel trends and analysis. We really have to take that to heart. And we have to find ways that you, as your business, can fit into this adventure tourism market. And as I said before, I think Plettenberg Bay is ideal for catering to the adventure tourism market people are being more focused on sustainability and the importance of promoting understanding between humans and nature. And that's the space that we play in at Plett Tourism. We've been playing in that space for 13 years, so we're really excited that the world thinks that that is a good space to play in. And I think that, a lot of the times we get very focused on our individual businesses and trying to make ends meet and trying to find clever ways to market. But I think if we all took into consideration that this is what we have to offer in Plett, and we somehow start to integrate that into our individual marketing plans, I think we would all see the benefits of it. One of the things that we are focusing on going forward is the introduction of what we call urban birding trails. So we would ideally like to see the township communities that we can start establishing nature trails in each of our township areas. And because AV tourism is such a growing market and it falls in that adventure sector, it would be amazing if we could start to develop these urban birding routes within our different townships and maximize a contribution into those areas, because the spin-off is the restaurants, the accommodation, the services that come with servicing the guests who come to those urban birding trails. So those are some areas that we are focusing on. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Patty. Does anybody have any questions for Patty on her presentation?
It will be available online, so we'll send out everything.
Can I take it then that we adopt that presentation for the purposes of this AGM? Are there any objections? Please put your hand up.
Do you have a question? Oh.
I thought you said, put your hands up.
And I call upon Patty to do the presentation on the annual accounts, which this year we actually have the audited accounts to hand. And that is why we actually extended the cut-off date for the AGM to the end of September, so we could actually have that. Patty, over to you.
Okay. Okay. First section is the total income, whether it be through the B2 municipality contribution, membership fees, other contributions, sales initiatives, marketing, advertising, sponsorships, etc. We had a revenue of 4.175196 million. And we had an expenditure which was over that amount by 48,257. Liz, is that correct? Is this here? Is that correct? Yes. Yes. Okay. So the reason we actually had a deficit is because we felt it necessary we had some surplus in a trust account. Is that correct?
It's just that, like last year we had almost 200.
Yes, so we had surplus in a trust account, and we felt that some of our front of house staff wanted to get them to a level on par with some of their counterparts with their salaries. And so I had permission to increase those salaries more significantly than originally anticipated, and we were able to use some of that money that was in the surplus to cover those salary increases. So you can see our general expenses, we have them classified in different categories. So we have office administration and outsource fees, and that tends to be most of what we spend on actual implementation of our plans, running of the office, those types of things. We spent in the tourism and travel trade area, which are your trade shows, your on-the-ground tourism and travel trade engagements, when we have journalists, when we have tour operators, when we have people who come to Plett, we sometimes contribute towards transportation costs, or we might have an ad hoc cost where we have to pay for some accommodation for them if we can't do a trade exchange. So that's an area that is very focused on tour operators, journalists, and travel professionals. On product and tourism development, that is classified as the Plett Trails, for example, is product development. So any expenditure we had with the Plett Trails app, maybe some of the marketing of the Plett Trails app, festivals and events, which is quite a big expense. We do contribute to festivals and events, but we also garner additional fees from sponsorships and partnerships and ticket sales. And we spent just shy of $1 million on our media, which includes social media, website, advertising, public relations, and those types of fees. So this is where it's broken down differently. So you can see CEO fees, the fees for office and events management, information officers, bookkeeping, AGM expenses, so on and so forth. So it's just kind of a more, a bigger breakdown of these types of expenses that we incur. Office supplies, depreciation, all the basic things. Tourism and travel trade, this is the breakdown of the PR, media, and workshops that we do in the tourism travel trade space. Assistance from, the different travel trade consultants, our spend on WTM, and then we go into festival and events, and it's broken down a little bit differently. We were involved in the B2 Municipal Investment Conference. That was held in, I believe it was May, this past fiscal year. And we had a separate memorandum, internal memorandum from the municipality. They did pay us to do it, which is reflected in our income, but there was payout as well. Arts Festival, we sponsored the Plett Adventure Racing Team. They were involved with Expedition Africa, which garnered a lot of international media exposure, and they race the trail circuit throughout South Africa. Plett Ocean Festival, the expenditure on summer festival and beach activations, and remember that we do get income from that as well. And general festival expenses, I think those are more like sundries if we need to contribute to a particular event or festival and we need to contribute with some type of expenditure with that. That's broken down in greater detail in the audited financial statements. Tourism and product development, that's the space that we focus on. A lot of it is focused on township development and township initiatives. So we are involved in a sewing project. Every year we select someone who is in the event space and send them through to what we call a Biz Help program. It is a semi-private government program where they mentor event organizers, and this year we had a recipient for that. What we classify as Ekasi, that is the Ekasi Life. That's the video was, I believe it was the SMMEs that we took to WTM. Township tourism, in that space, I'm gonna have to look at the audited financial statements to see what exactly that was for. We do a journalist mentorship program where we mentor journalists and we actually give them a stipend for them to go to travel to their interviewee, to interview them, and then we give them a stipend for writing their story. The municipality mandated us to pay the Garden Route Film Commission $100K out of last year's budget. So that was paid over. In the form of Plett Cares community support, that is in the form of buffs, hats, t-shirts, and those are generally given to church choirs, sports teams, maybe an individual who was playing or was as gymnast for SWD, and we gave them kit to go to SWD. The Plett map, the development of the Plett map, which is under product development, and then we also sold advertising to offset that cost. And then the Plett Trail app, so those are costs incurred for the development of the app, and then the monthly fees for the app, and the monthly and the updates for the app. So media outreach and PR, we spent 180 on social media projects management fees, printing, design, and reproduction of signage, maps, etc. Our Activitar and Zoho, so the Activitar is the platform that does the activity, we do activity bookings. There is a monthly fee to that, and then also with Zoho there's a monthly fee. The Activitar, the monies raised through Activitar kind of offset this, that it's reflected in revenue. Advertising, branded items, banners, radio, etc. at about 193.5. Advertising and billboards and the new poles, we had to buy new poles for the flags that go down to the market square. Our bulk email and newsletter costs, we have a platform that was doing it called MailChimp. It's now been integrated into Zoho, so there's going to be a savings there for next fiscal year. Freelance content, we're very focused on our stories, our writing, and we outsource that content. And then our website management, IT, CRM management, all of these things that have to do with our website platforms, our Zoho, our event platforms, etc. Those costs are in there. So has everyone seen the actual audited financial statements that were circulated? If not, they're available online, so all of this will be available online. Does anybody have any immediate questions about the financials? No? Okay.
Thank you, Patty. So can I take it that we can adopt these financials as the formal financials at the AGM? If you want to ask questions, as Patty says, it is online, so feel free if you come across anything to raise a question subsequent to this meeting. That brings us to the end of our formal business. Is there any other business that anybody would like to raise? Other than why my phone made that. That's what you get when you link your home alarm to your phone, and then your wife goes out to coffee with her mates while you're at a meeting, and then forgets to switch off the alarm and she re-enters the home. Any other business? If there's no other business, I declare the meeting is closed. I thank you all once again.
Could I just interrupt once? We were supposed to have someone here speak about the seals, and she is not here.
Yeah.
Should we make just an announcement or plea about
Yeah, we were anticipating there'd be an informed individual to give us a bit of a chat on the seals.
We could ask either Mel or Yaku to give us information on the seals, the rabies outbreak, and maybe what to look for and where we are within that space. Do either of you know?
Yeah, I can talk.
Thank you.
Please come
So
forward.
this is Mel from Shark Spotters, and Dr. Gwen Henry, she was meant to be here, but unfortunately is unable to come. So I've asked Mel to just kind of fill us in with what is actually going on in that request for the tourism industry to be cognitive of the fact that they have found rabies in some of the seals and just what to look out for.
Yeah, good morning everyone. Afternoon. I'm Melissa, manager of Shark Spotters. Yaku, feel free to add in if I miss anything. But a couple of months ago, myself and a few other stakeholders in Plett, including Beto Municipality, the Plett Stranding Network, the seal operators in the town, we all attended the seal rabies workshop in Cape Town to try to figure out the extent of the rabies in seals and also to try to come up with a management plan about how we're going to handle this. So there's only ever been one recorded seal that's got rabies, which was in the 1980s in Norway, and it was completely isolated. It didn't go any further than that. So now this is the first time we're ever experiencing the rabies virus in an endemic population. So we found that it's reached the whole Western Cape coastline, also extending up to Namibia. Luckily for us, rabies only affects mammals, so you don't get rabbit sharks, thank goodness. But we are fearful that it extends to other seal populations as well as dogs and humans. It's a very serious disease. Once you start showing symptoms, there's no going back after that. So Beto Municipality has to make some calls to try to prevent the spread from happening. Some of those things is that all the beaches are now, you have to have your dog on a leash. We're doing extensive surveys. The seal operators are surveilling the colony every single day and reporting any suspect cases. We're doing beach surveys to try to see if there's any live seals coming ashore. Nearly every seal that does come ashore alive we treat as a precautionary case just to prevent any further transmissions. I think so far we've had about 4 positive cases in Plett and 1 case of euthanasia from a suspect seal. The kinds of behaviors you might see in a rabbit seal, it can go undetected in any animal for a really long period, 3 months, even sometimes up to a year, where the animal can be infected but not showing symptoms. Once it does start showing symptoms, they usually die really quickly, but they have quite actually a big range of symptoms which can lead to, tell us that they have rabies. It affects the brain or the hippocampus, so the seal can appear like dazed and confused, can also get really aggressive, excessive saliva coming out of its mouth, but those are all really just in the last week of its life you start to see those symptoms. So yeah, the seal operators are constantly looking at the colony for us for any of these symptoms, and then if we do find one, we have to consult with Cape Town Municipality and DEFI, the Department of Environmental Affairs, and all of that, and if we all agree that it is a suspect case, then immediate euthanasia is planned. And we've also asked beach control to clear the beaches of any dead seals as soon as possible. If you are bitten by a seal, or your dog is bitten, or anything like that, we recommend using or flushing the wound with fresh water and as much soap or ethanol as you can. That can actually deactivate the virus completely. It's quite a sensitive virus in a way that soap can kill it, sunlight can kill it, salt water can kill it. So luckily for us, the transmission rate can be relatively low. Seal saliva glands also placed right at the back of their mouths, so even if you are bitten by a seal that has rabies, doesn't mean that saliva is going to come through. So it is transmitted from saliva into bloodstream. That's how it is transmitted. And after flushing the wound, you have to go to a hospital straight away. The sooner you get the vaccination shot after you get bitten, the better chance you have of it working. I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. How does it affect the swimming with the seals?
Well, okay,
I'll try and answer that one. In a lot of ways, it doesn't. As we said, we've got strict protocols we have to follow. So we have slightly reduced the amount of time swimming, but also with the operators communicating once with another, we make sure we select the correct areas. And we also tell the people in front what should be expected and so forth. So ever since we've been operating together, we've had very little disturbances. So it hasn't affected us as from an operational point. And we also, all our staff is vaccinated, and we make sure all the medical facilities in the areas well stocked. So also one other thing to note is we got a very good rapid response group in Plett, being very proactive. So I think it's our municipality can actually pride themselves in the proactive way they've approached the situation. So we're miles ahead of any other municipality in South Africa.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. Fascinating topic, insofar as the rest of us are concerned, you know what the program is. What we are called upon to be observant and to keep our dogs on a leash, which is probably the most difficult thing to achieve in Plettenberg Bay. So it will take a wide range change in attitudes. The fact is, apart from a very small section of beach, you're obliged to keep your dog on a leash whenever it's out of your garden. So, but now it is very important, because if there's dog-seal interaction and rabies starts to get into the dog population, that creates a whole new problem. So thank you very much for that. Any other business? Okay, the meeting is closed exactly on.
Can I just introduce two of our new board members?
Yes.
They are here, yeah. So we'd like to introduce you. So we have one board seat, ecotourism, and then we have a new board seat, which is culture and heritage. And according to our constitution, we can co-opt them in when it's not a voting year. And they will sit on for 3 years, so that we can have some continuity during the time next year, so that when the voting takes place, these two positions won't be available for election, but the other positions will be. So the first one is our ecotourism board member. Her name is Favor Yonk. I don't know, most of you probably know Favor. So she comes from SASA, Birds of Eden, Monkeyland, Yukoni, and she comes with more than 10 years experience of all things kind of ecotourism related. So she works very much in that space, and she formerly sat on the board at Tsitsikamma Tourism, but due to the tenure situation there as well, she had to relinquish her seat. It came to an end earlier this year, and she comes with a wealth of knowledge in the ecotourism space. Second is the new seat, which is a culture and heritage seat. And we have Senior Chief Justin Bernardo from the Cranswick community. He's agreed to sit on the board. He is the current leader of the Sol and Susanna Camphor Royal House. And he's also a traditional cultural guide. Working in the area, and he's very focused on community activities and projects for the indigenous people of Bitu. He is one of the individuals we took with us to WTM this year. He works very much in the Cranswick community as well as other trail areas, and he comes with a wealth of knowledge when it comes to indigenous people from our area. And his ancestral land is actually Rauberg Peninsula. So he is a walking encyclopedia of knowledge. So thank you, Justin. Thank you.
welcome to both of you, and thank you very much for volunteering to come on the Plett Tourism Board. Right, we now have overrun our time by 3.5 minutes. Is there any other business?
Morning, good day everyone. My name is Trevor, I'm local. I was a little bit late and I heard what was going on. Thanks Betty, I heard you talking about a lot of the township. It really means a lot for us as locals. And also, I just want to say thanks to Mama Cindy as well for the Plett Arts Festival. I mean, she's been driving it for years. And yes, tonight I'm having a show right here. It's about the township stories. So if anyone is around and would love to come and join us and get to hear a little bit more about the stories in the township and how do we live and how do we enjoy ourselves and what's our culture. Yeah, it will really mean a lot.
Great.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor. Anybody else? Okay, thank you all very much, and thank you for the contributions that have come. Thank you, Fatty. Meeting closed, and the next AGM will be before the end of September 2025.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.